I bought 43 Amazon shares. We do know that Amazon's a stock I want to continue to build out through the end of this year. I don't know if I'll still be buying it in 2024. We'll see. But this is just a stock I'm continuing to buy this year. I'm hoping it goes down. I hope it goes down on earnings. I'm not so confident of that. I hope it goes down, but I'm just not super confident it's going to go down. There's been the breakup talk. I'm hoping that pushes the stock down. I'm really hoping anything pushes the stock down, to be honest, as just a buyer of the stock. So as far as where I'm up to in the public count now, I'm up to $134,000 worth. My goal by the end of the year would be $200,000 in Amazon. If I can get to $200,000 plus by the end of this year, I'll be a happy camper in regards to the public count. I'll be a happy camper. I think it's possible. I definitely think it's possible. What's the next stock I bought? Here, I bought PayPal. This was my big buy, okay? 197 shares of PayPal. Here today, I bought, okay? Now, where am I at with PayPal? I am up to about $100,000 worth of PayPal now at this point in time. 1,400 shares. PayPal is a stock that I'm planning on buying the remainder of this year and probably even into the first half of 2024. So the good news for me with PayPal is I probably have about 12 months to build this position because the stock is so insanely undervalued right now. Like, I have a long runway to buy this one because even if PayPal was to go up 30% from here, I'm still going to be a buyer of PayPal because it'll still be very undervalued up 30% from here. A stock like Amazon, if it goes up 30% tomorrow, like, I'd probably pull back on buying. A stock like PayPal, it makes no difference whether this is up 30%, 40%, even 50%, to be quite frank, okay? So, yeah, really happy with where I'm getting to PayPal. Long term, I'd love it to be a multi-$100,000 position. We'll see if we can get it there. The next stock I bought here is Mattel, the brand new stock for the public count, and bought this one $21 or so, $21 and some change. I started out with 300 shares. Now, I'm still doing super in-depth work on Mattel, so I don't know how big I'm going to build this position yet. Maybe this is a position that's just tens of thousands of dollars, or maybe this is a position I'm going to build out to a $100,000 plus position. I'm going to probably finish up my work at Mattel likely tonight. I've been kind of going nonstop in that one this week, especially after I heard that Barbie movie was such a success. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a fundamental change in Mattel's business model forever. And so I'm just kind of like doing deep dives into everything that's going on, all the different products, where those products are at, inventory levels. Listened to their conference call last night, looked over their entire report, and I'm just kind of going down the full rabbit hole of Mattel, kind of what's been going on the past few years, where I see this thing going over the next few years, and all those sorts of things. So yeah, really excited about Mattel, but we'll see what happens there in terms of how big of a position I build that one out to be, okay? Next stock up here I bought is Palantir. Didn't buy a ton of Palantir shares, just added another 55 shares. Now, in regards to Palantir, I am now up to 5,555 shares in the public count, okay? Now, in regards to Palantir, am I going to buy any more Palantir shares going into earnings, or am I going to lay off of buying Palantir shares? Because obviously we know earnings are coming up pretty dang soon. If I recall, earnings are within the next, I believe within the next 10 to 15 trading days, if I recall, when it comes to Palantir. Okay, so in regards to me with Palantir, now at this point in time, I am good on what I own Palantir going into these earnings. And we'll see what happens with the earnings. I really want to see what happens with not only the current revenue for this past quarter, but I really want to hear what CARP has to say about guidance. Or I want some sort of numbers. I want more than just like, oh, there's a lot of companies that are looking into our products. I want to hear more concrete, like, we think we're going to be able to start growing 20% plus, 25% plus, 30% plus. I want to hear something numbers related on that conference call. If CARP can give me that, that's going to give me even more conviction with Palantir. I'm going to probably continue to buy shares and continue to build out that position bigger. I also want to see what's going on with EPS. I want to see them knock out another profitable quarter here. I think they should, but I want to see that, right? And if they can do that, I'll continue to be a buyer of the stock after earnings, even if the stock was to go up, just for the mere fact that, at the end of the day, when I look at Palantir, there's just so much runway for growth there, especially as long as they can keep this company profitable moving forward. And then they actually, put up the numbers that we think they can put up for Palantir overall. So, yeah, I'm happy with Palantir, but, this quarter is huge. Not going to lie, this quarter is huge for the stock. It's the most important quarter for Palantir in the company's history of being a public company. This is the most important. What they have to say about not just the past quarter, but what they have to say about guidance going forward, we got to hear more than just there's a lot of companies that are, calling us and are interested in the product. We got to hear, what are you guys thinking for revenue growth for either next quarter or next year? Give us something, Carp. Give us something, team, and we'll have more conviction than ever in regards to the stock, okay? Because then we know, like the S&P 500 inclusion is coming, plus we know, we're getting back to certain growth rates. Then it's like smooth sailing from there on out. And then the bears aren't even going to have anything to say at that point, because then there's nothing left, okay? All right, what's the next stock I bought up here is Avant. I bought, it sounds like a lot of shares, but it's a very small amount of money, actually. You can do the math on it. I bought 20,000 shares of Avant at about 14 cents or so. And in regards to Avant, Norton's done a very good job running that company. They're starting to flip the company over to the profitable side. The revenue growth has been nothing short of historic. It's some of the fastest revenue growth you'll find anywhere in the stock market. So, it's a very small cap company. I still look at it as a risky stock. Even though, the company's financials have come around so immensely over this past year. But we'll see, obviously, where that one trends out. I just treat it as a speculative stock. There's a big difference between an Avant and like a Palantir or a Meta or a Tesla or an Amazon or PayPal or any of these other stocks. But at the end of the day, I kind of look at it and I'm like, who actually deserves my money? And based upon the way the management team's been around that company, they deserve some money. Now, this is shocking, okay? Simply shocking what just took place here. So the CFO Outlook commentary, this was so important, okay? They said, we expect third quarter 2023 total revenue to be in the range of $32 to $34.5 billion. Our guidance assumes a foreign currency tailwind of approximately 3% to a year-over-year total revenue growth in the third quarter based on current exchange rates. So basically the midpoint of this, because you always want to, if a company gives a range like that, you always want to look at the midpoint. So the midpoint here is $33.25 billion. Now, why does that matter so much? Okay, I'll show you exactly why that matters. Remember that number, $33.25 billion. Analysts had this company, on average, growing to $31.1 billion for next quarter. So keep in mind, even the worst numbers, $32 billion is substantially higher than what analysts were expecting, almost $1 billion. But remember, their midpoint's 33.25. So which means they're expecting to get this business back to 20%-ish type growth when analysts were at 12%. Now 12% is fine, but when we start talking about 20% growth, oh my gosh, folks, okay? We're no longer talking about Meta as just a value opportunity. Suddenly, we are now talking about Meta as a growth stock again. Now, that fundamentally changes the way you have to value Meta stock. Right now, Meta is valued as a value stock. You look at its forward PE, you're going to see a forward P of, let's call it 20, 22, something like that. Now, keep in mind, with that revenue guide, that likely means the company's going to be far more profitable in the back half of this year in 2024 than anybody had anticipated. Which also means if you're seeing a forward PE that says, let's say 22, actually lower than that right now. But you add on top of that the fact that now we're getting this back to being a growth stock, if they're going to start growing revenues 20%-ish type numbers, and you have to start valuing it as a growth stock, which means you've got to start putting forward Ps of 30s and 40s in front of the stock. Which means the stock price has to go up substantially more, which is very intriguing. And this is why Meta is just the most well-positioned stock in kind of big tech land, because there's a lot of big tech stocks that just aren't positioned that well. But Meta is actually positioned even after this insane move from $88 a share back in Q4 2022 to where it is now at 300 plus, and it has a long way to go. Okay. Now, if you want to look on the competition front, they're eating their competition's lunch. You look at what Google McDougal, which Google's always, in my opinion, the best comp for Meta, if you're going to comp Meta against anybody. And the numbers are just better at Meta. They just are. You look at basically what Google McDougal's doing for kind of like growth rates, and then you look at what Meta's doing for growth rates and what they're expected to do for growth rates, and it looks like Meta's eating Google's lunch right now. Does it really matter? No, but it's great to see a company execute like that, right? Because, remember, Wall Street has a limited amount of money. Everybody has a limited amount of money to put in the market, right? So some people are going to consider, do I want to buy Google for the next year, or do I want to buy Meta for the next year? Because we know Wall Street thinks very short term. At the end of the day, Meta's still the stock to buy, even though it's way outperformed Google already, right?